The boy participated in a swimming competition while wearing a bulky diving suit. As the race began, all the other contestants jumped into the sea, but he slowly walked toward the ocean. While the others raced on the surface of the water, he could only walk slowly on the seabed. But to everyone's surprise, the boy ended up winning the championship. It turned out he wasn't human, but a sea monster that people feared. To avoid being hunted by humans, sea monsters had lived deep in the ocean for years. Luca has never left this sea area since birth, so anything that didn't belong to the sea both scared and fascinated him. One day, Luca discovered a phonograph. As he happily checked it out, a man in a diving suit holding a harpoon suddenly appeared. Luca was terrified and quickly hid in a stone cave. It was said that humans were all evil, and he thought this was it for him.
It's fine, I'm not human.
Oh, thank goodness.
It turned out the person was also a sea monster named Alberto. After introducing himself, Alberto picked up the phonograph and swam toward the surface. Luca wanted to get the phonograph back, but found that when Alberto went ashore, he turned into a human. Then he also pulled Luca onto the shore.
No.
It turned out that sea monsters turned into humans when they left the water. Luca, who had turned human for the first time, seemed not to adjust well to this new body, struggling even with something as simple as standing. Fortunately, with Alberto's patient guidance, Luca quickly learned how to walk. Thus, they became good friends. Later, Luca visited at Alberto's place and discovered that he had collected many interesting things. Just then, a poster on the wall caught Luca's attention. Alberto told him that this thing was called a motorcycle, and it could take you anywhere you wanted to go. Luca became even more fascinated by it. So they started using their imagination, and in just half a day, built a motorcycle out of scrap wood. But when they tested it, it fell to pieces.
This is normal. Stay focused. Don't move!
After spending some time together, Luca and Alberto's friendship grew deeper. To get a real motorcycle, they decided to try their luck in the town. However, the town was full of paintings and sculptures of humans hunting sea monsters. Luca wanted to leave quickly, but a motorcycle caught his attention and made him stop. The owner of the motorcycle was named Ercole. He was a notorious bully in town. When Luca and Alberto approached to admire the motorcycle, a soccer ball rolled to Luca's feet. Luca tried to return the ball, but he accidentally kicked it onto the motorcycle.
Oh, mamma mia! Talk to Hercule. How you hurt?
My head
Out
kinda
you,
hurt.
Ciccio! Out of the way! Oh, piccolina, if there is so much as a scratch.
This made Ercole very angry, and he decided to teach Luca a lesson by dunking him in a fountain. Just in time, a girl stopped Ercole, and Luca's identity was not revealed. The girl's name was Julia. She told Luca and Alberto that if they won the triathlon, they would win a motorcycle. This was exactly what Luca and Alberto had dreamed of. However, the triathlon involved swimming, eating pasta, and mountain biking. To win the motorcycle, Luca started practicing cycling, while Alberto practiced eating pasta. During training, they had nowhere to stay, so they had to live at Julia's house. With the competition getting closer, they ramped up their training. Meanwhile, Luca's parents were anxiously searching for him. Just as Luca passed by his parents, they immediately recognized him and chased after him, but they didn't manage to catch him. Just then, Luca and Alberto's bike went out of control, and they crashed through a barrier and fell into the sea. When Julia arrived, Luca, in an attempt to hide his identity, betrays Alberto.
Sea monster!
Luca?
Stay back!
At this moment, Ercole arrived, intending to hunt the sea monster. Alberto had no choice but to leave disappointed. The sharp harpoon was not as painful as Luca's betrayal to Alberto. Back at home, Luca kept trying to explain himself to Julia. Seeing that he was losing control of his emotions, Julia splashed water on him. Just like that, Luca's identity was exposed. In order to protect Luca's life, Julia had no choice but to tell him to leave. Then, Luca found Alberto again. He sincerely apologized to Alberto and promised to win the championship and take him on a motorcycle ride around the world. The next day, the competition officially began. Luca, ignoring Julia's advice, insisted on participating. During the swimming segment, the contestants wore light swimsuits and raced to the water's surface, but Luca had to wear the bulky diving suit to prevent his identity from being exposed. As expected, he was the last one to come ashore. Ercole even deliberately tripped him, nearly revealing his true identity. Then, during the pasta eating segment, seeing that Luca didn't know how to use a fork, Julia patiently taught him how to use it. After finishing the pasta, Luca quickly put on his helmet and began the final cycling segment. Just then, the sky was dark and cloudy, as if it was about to rain. Luca couldn't afford to relax. He sped up and soon overtook Urkel. But just at that moment, it started raining. Luca quickly hid under a roof to prevent his identity from being exposed. As he neared the finish line, Urkel caught up again. Just as Luca was about to give up, Alberto showed up with an umbrella. To his surprise, the nasty Urkel kicked him to the ground.
Sea monster!
To buy time for Luca, Alberto ran into the crowd. Seeing that his friend was in danger because of him, Luca didn't care about hiding his identity anymore. They braved the heavy rain and pressed forward, with Urkel furiously chasing behind, even trying to kill them. In this desperate moment, Julia knocked Urkel down, successfully saving them. At this point, Luca and Alberto had reached the sea, but seeing Julia fall, they gave up their chance to escape. They turned back to help Julia up. Just then, the villagers surrounded them with harpoons. At that critical moment, Julia's father stepped in and stopped the villagers, announcing that they had won the competition. Julia's father was a famous sea monster hunter in the town. Seeing his change of attitude, the villagers also gave up on capturing them. From then on, sea monsters and humans became friends. At the end of the story, Alberto sold the motorcycle and bought a train ticket, deciding to let Luca follow Julia to school. After saying goodbye to Alberto, Luca boarded the train to begin a new life. I believe he would never forget the happy times he had with Alberto.